The studio lights burn brighter than usual, almost blinding, like something big is about to explode. The cameras roll, the audience leans forward, and in that single charged moment, everything shifts. No one expects what's about to happen. Not the producers, not the hosts, not even the man sitting calmly in his chair, Matt Damon. And across from him, poised yet already slightly tense, sits Joy Behar, a veteran voice of The View, known for her sharp wit and even sharper opinions. But today, something feels different. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button for Talk Battles, smash like, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this is one of those moments you don't just watch, you experience. The applause fades, but the tension doesn't. Matt leans back slightly, composed, almost too calm. He's here to promote his latest project, a gripping film that critics are already calling one of the most emotionally raw performances of his career. His voice, when he first speaks, is steady. I think this role, it changed me. It made me reflect on choices, on responsibility. Joy smiles, but it's not a warm smile. It's the kind that hides a challenge. Well, she says, adjusting her glasses, you've had a lot of opportunities to reflect, haven't you? A few scattered chuckles ripple through the audience. Matt nods politely. I've been lucky, yeah. But Joy leans forward. Lucky or selective? Because some people feel like Hollywood only reflects certain voices. And you've been part of that system for a long time. The air tightens. Matt's expression shifts, barely noticeable, but enough. His eyes narrow just a fraction. I think that's a complicated conversation, he replies. Oh, I love complicated. Joy shoots back instantly. A murmur runs through the crowd. Matt exhales slowly, choosing his words. I've tried to use my platform to support stories that matter. Not just mine, but others too. Joy tilts her head. But is that enough? There it is. The first spark. The audience goes quiet now. Completely quiet. Matt leans forward, elbows on his knees. What would you define as enough? Joy doesn't hesitate. Real change. Not just talking about it in interviews. A few audience members gasp softly. The tension is no longer subtle. It's front and center. Matt's jaw tightens. I've spent years working behind the scenes to support filmmakers, to open doors. But you still benefit from the same system, Joy interrupts. That's when everything shifts. Matt pauses, not because he doesn't have something to say, but because he's deciding how far he's willing to go. When he finally speaks, his voice is quieter, but sharper. Everyone in this room benefits from some system, Joy, including this show. The audience erupts, some in applause, some in shock. Joy blinks, caught off guard for just a split second. You're comparing a daytime talk show to the film industry? I'm saying, Matt replies, locking eyes with her, that pointing fingers is easy. Actually doing the work? That's harder. The silence that follows is deafening. Even the co-hosts shift uncomfortably. Joy leans back now, crossing her arms. Are you saying I don't do the work? Matt shakes his head. I'm saying, it's not as simple as you're making it sound. The tension is no longer just professional, it's personal. And the audience can feel it. One woman in the front row whispers, "Oh my God." Matt continues, his voice gaining intensity. I've spent decades trying to grow, to learn. I've made mistakes. I've owned them. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that change happens overnight. Joy fires back instantly. No one's asking for overnight. We're asking for accountability. And I'm telling you, Matt says, leaning in closer, accountability isn't a performance. The words land like a punch. A collective gasp echoes through the studio. For a moment, no one speaks. Not the hosts. Not the audience. Not even the producers in the control room. It's just them. Two voices, two perspectives colliding in real time. Joy breaks the silence first. So what? This is just how it is. We talk about issues and nothing really changes. Matt shakes his head again, slower this time. No, it changes, but not because of moments like this. That line, it hits hard. Because suddenly, this isn't just an interview anymore. It's a confrontation. And everyone watching, whether in the studio or at home, knows it. The camera zooms in slightly, catching every flicker of emotion. Joy's expression softens, but only slightly. You think this doesn't matter? She asks. Matt pauses. Then, quietly, I think it matters how we talk about it. And just like that, the battle lines are drawn. The audience doesn't clap. They don't cheer. They just sit there, frozen, absorbing every second. Because they know, this is only the beginning. The silence doesn't break, it stretches. You can almost hear the hum of the studio lights, the faint shuffle of someone in the back row shifting uncomfortably. The usual rhythm of the view, quick jokes, overlapping voices, easy applause, is gone, replaced by something heavier, something real. Matt Damon sits still, but his posture has changed. He's no longer leaning back like a guest enjoying a press tour. Now he's grounded, alert, fully present, like a man who knows every word from this point forward matters. Across from him, Joy Behar studies him carefully. She's been in countless debates, faced politicians, celebrities, critics. But this feels different, because Matt isn't playing defense anymore. He's pushing back. Joy exhales, then leans forward again, her voice softer, but more deliberate. Okay, then let's talk about how we talk about it. A subtle shift. Not a retreat, but a recalibration. Matt nods slightly, acknowledging the change in tone. Fair. Joy glances briefly at the audience, then back at him. You said accountability isn't a performance. But when people see celebrities speak out, when they see you speak out, it matters. It shapes conversations. Matt listens, his expression unreadable. And when they don't see enough, she adds. There's a pause. Matt rubs his hands together, thinking. I get that expectation, he finally says. I really do. But what people don't always see is the work that isn't public. Joy raises an eyebrow. That's convenient. A few nervous laughs ripple through the crowd, but they die quickly. Matt doesn't smile. It's not about convenience, he replies. It's about impact. Not everything meaningful happens in front of a camera. Joy tilts her head, her voice gaining an edge again. But if no one sees it, how does it inspire change? That question lingers. Even the co-hosts glance at each other, unsure whether to jump in or stay out of it. Matt leans forward again, his voice lower now, more personal. Because change isn't always about inspiration. Sometimes it's about responsibility. Joy doesn't interrupt this time. And that says something. Matt continues. I've sat in rooms with people who are trying to fix real problems, funding issues, representation gaps, access barriers. Those conversations don't trend on social media. They don't get applause. But they matter. The audience is completely silent again. But now, it's a different kind of silence. Less shock, more attention. Joy folds her hands together. I'm not dismissing that, she says carefully. But you have to understand why people are frustrated. Matt nods. I do. Do you? She presses. That one lands sharper than expected. Matt's eyes flicker, just for a second. Yes, he says firmly. Because I've listened. Joy leans back slightly, studying him again. Listening is a start, she says. But action, visible action, is what people are asking for. Matt lets out a quiet breath. And what if the action doesn't look the way you expect? Joy doesn't answer immediately. Instead, she glances toward the audience again, as if weighing the room, feeling the tension, measuring the moment. One audience member whispers something to the person next to them. Another shakes their head slowly. Everyone is invested now. Joy turns back to Matt. Then maybe it needs to, she says. That line draws a reaction, soft gasps, a few claps, quickly fading. Matt's expression tightens again. But this time, there's something else behind it. Not just frustration, conviction. Or maybe, he replies, his voice steady but intense, we need to stop expecting everything to be packaged in a way that's easy to consume. That hits differently. You can feel it. Joy's eyes narrow slightly. Are you saying people want things to be easy? I'm saying, Matt responds, that real change is messy. It's uncomfortable. And it doesn't always come with a clear narrative. Joy crosses her arms again. But this time, it's less defensive, more contemplative. People don't want a narrative, she says. They want honesty. And you think they're not getting that? Matt asks. Joy doesn't hesitate. Not always. There's a beat. Matt nods slowly. Then maybe the problem isn't just what's being done, he says. Maybe it's what people choose to see. The audience reacts again, this time louder. A mix of agreement and disbelief. Joy leans forward quickly. That sounds like you're putting the responsibility back on the audience. Matt shakes his head. No, I'm saying it's shared. Another pause. This one feels heavier than the others. Because now, it's not just about Hollywood or media or public figures. It's about everyone. Joy's voice softens again, but there's an intensity beneath it. You know what people hear when you say that? She asks. Matt looks at her. They hear someone powerful saying, it's not my fault. That lands hard. A collective, oh, moves through the audience. Matt's reaction is immediate. That's not what I'm saying. But it's how it sounds, Joy presses. Matt runs a hand over his face, clearly feeling the weight of the moment now. No, he says more firmly this time. What I'm saying is, this isn't about blame. It's about progress. Joy studies him again. And you think we're making progress? Matt pauses. For the first time, he doesn't answer right away. The silence stretches again, but now it's filled with something deeper. Doubt. Reflection. Finally, he speaks. I think we're trying, he says quietly. Joy's expression softens just a fraction. Trying isn't always enough. Matt meets her gaze. No, he admits. But it's where it starts. That line, it shifts something. Not completely. Not enough to end the tension. But enough to change its shape. The audience feels it too. The energy in the room isn't explosive anymore. It's heavy, thoughtful, unresolved. One of the co-hosts finally leans forward, as if about to step in, but then stops. Because this moment, it doesn't belong to anyone else. Joy takes a slow breath. Let me ask you something, she says. Matt nods. Do you ever feel like, no matter what you do, it's never going to be enough? The question catches him off guard. You can see it. And for the first time since this started, his guard drops. Just a little. Yeah, he says quietly. The honesty in that single word changes everything. The audience doesn't react loudly this time. No gasps. No applause. Just silence. Because now it's not a clash. It's something else. Something more human. Joy nods slowly. Then you understand why people keep pushing. Matt looks down for a second, then back up. I do. Another pause. But this one feels different. Less like a standoff. More like the edge of something deeper. Because the confrontation isn't over. Not even close. It's just evolving. The air in the studio feels heavier now, like every word spoken has settled into the walls, refusing to leave. No one dares to interrupt. Not the producers, not the co-hosts, not even the audience that came expecting light conversation and applause cues. Because what's unfolding between Matt Damon and Joy Behar on The View is no longer just a debate. It's something raw, something unfiltered. Matt sits back for a moment, exhaling slowly, as if trying to collect the weight of everything he's already said, and everything he hasn't. His fingers tap lightly against his knee, a subtle sign that the calm exterior is starting to crack. Joy notices it. She leans in again, but this time her voice isn't sharp. It's measured. Intentional. You said you feel like it's never enough sometimes. Matt nods faintly. That's honest, she continues. But let me ask you something else. When was the last time you felt proud of the change you helped create? The question lands differently. Not like an accusation, like a challenge to reflect. Matt's eyes shift, not avoiding her, but searching inward. The audience leans forward again. You can almost feel hundreds of people holding their breath at once. Matt finally speaks. Honestly, Joy nods. Honestly, he says, those moments don't feel like victories. A ripple moves through the crowd. Joy tilts her head slightly. What do they feel like? Matt pauses again, but this time, it's not hesitation. It's vulnerability. They feel like responsibility, he says. Like something I should have been doing all along. The words are quiet, but they hit harder than anything he's said so far. Joy's expression softens, just a little more. That's a powerful thing to admit. Matt shrugs slightly, but there's no arrogance in it. It's the truth. There's a long pause. And then Joy does something unexpected. She leans back. Not in defense. Not in retreat. But in thought. For the first time since this started, she doesn't jump in with another question. She lets the moment breathe. The audience feels it too. A shift. Not away from tension, but deeper into it. One of the co-hosts glances between them, clearly unsure whether to step in. But again, no one does. Because now, this isn't about winning. Joy finally speaks again, her tone quieter than before. You know, people don't usually see this side of these conversations. Matt looks at her. This side, he asks. The part where it's not just talking points, she says. Where it actually means something. Matt nods slowly. Yeah, he says. Because most of the time, it gets turned into something else. Joy raises an eyebrow. Like what? Matt lets out a small, almost tired smile. Clips. Headlines. Half the story. A few audience members nod instinctively. Joy notices. But that's the world we live in, she says. People consume moments, not full conversations. Matt leans forward again. And that's part of the problem. There's that edge again. Not explosive, but present. Joy's eyes lock onto his. Then how do you fix it? She asks. Matt doesn't answer immediately. Instead, he looks out toward the audience, really looks at them this time. Not as a crowd, but as individuals. That's just it, he says slowly. I don't think one person fixes it. Joy nods faintly. So it's collective. It has to be, Matt replies. Joy folds her hands again. Then why does it always feel like the responsibility falls on individuals? That question hits something deeper. Matt's expression shifts again. This time there's frustration. But it's not directed at Joy. It's bigger than that. Because it's easier, he says. It's easier to point at one person and say, you should have done more. Joy doesn't interrupt. And maybe that's fair sometimes, he continues. But it also ignores the systems that make those problems exist in the first place. The audience reacts again, this time with quiet murmurs of agreement. Joy nods slowly. So we're back to systems. Matt gives a small, almost ironic smile. Yeah, we always end up there. Joy exhales, glancing down for a moment before looking back up. You know what people at home might be thinking right now, she says. Matt raises an eyebrow slightly. They might be thinking this sounds like a lot of talking, she says. A lot of reflection, but not enough action. The tension spikes again, just slightly. Matt notices. And this time, he doesn't soften his response. Then they're not listening, he says. The words cut through the room. A sharp inhale from somewhere in the audience. Joy's eyes widen just a fraction. That's a bold statement, she says. Matt leans forward, his voice firm now. No, it's an honest one. The energy shifts again, faster this time. Because now, the calm reflection is colliding with something sharper. Something more direct. I'm sitting here telling you that change is complicated, Matt continues. That it takes time, effort, collaboration. And people reduce it to not enough action. Joy leans in immediately. Because for a lot of people, it isn't enough. Matt shakes his head. And for a lot of people, it's more than they realize. They're locked in again. Not as explosive as before. But more intense. More personal. The audience is completely silent again. Joy's voice lowers, but there's steel in it. You have to understand the frustration. I do, Matt says quickly. Do you feel it? She presses. That question lands differently. Matt pauses. This time longer than before. Because this isn't about logic. It's about emotion. Finally, he answers. Yeah, he says quietly. I feel it. Joy studies him carefully. Then why does it sound like you're pushing back against it? Matt exhales slowly. Because feeling something doesn't mean you stop questioning it. That line it lands. Hard. Joy leans back slightly again, processing. The audience shifts, some nodding, some frowning, everyone thinking. Matt continues, his voice softer now. I'm not against accountability. I'm not against people demanding more. He pauses. I just think we need to be careful about turning every conversation into a battlefield. The irony of that statement, right here, right now, is not lost on anyone. A few audience members let out quiet, almost nervous laughs. Joy notices it too. She gives a small, knowing smile. A little late for that, don't you think? She says. For the first time in a while. Matt smiles back. Just slightly. Yeah, he admits. The tension doesn't disappear. But it changes again. Becomes something else. Something layered. Because now it's not just two people clashing. It's two people trying, imperfectly, publicly, to understand each other. Joy leans forward one more time. Let me ask you one last thing, she says. Matt nods. If you could go back, she continues, and handle some of these moments differently, would you? The question hangs in the air. Heavy. Personal. Final. Matt doesn't answer right away. He looks down briefly, then back up. And when he speaks, his voice is quieter than it's been all night. Yeah, he says. No hesitation. No defense. Just truth. The audience doesn't react loudly. They don't need to. Because that single word carries more weight than everything that came before it. Joy nods slowly. Then maybe that's where change really starts. Matt holds her gaze. Maybe, he says. Another pause. And this time, it feels like the end of something. Not the conversation, but the conflict as it was. Because what comes next isn't about the clash. It's about the consequences. For a moment, it feels like the storm has passed. But in reality, that was just the eye. Because what happens next doesn't stay inside the studio. It doesn't fade with the lights or dissolve into the usual closing music of The View. No, this moment, this clash between Matt Damon and Joy Behar, has already escaped beyond those walls. And everyone can feel it. The director's voice finally cuts through the tension from somewhere off camera, signaling a transition. One of the co-hosts attempts a soft pivot, mentioning Matt's latest film again, trying to bring the conversation back to safer ground. But it's too late. The energy has changed. Matt sits upright now, composed again, but not the same. There's a quiet weight in his expression, like someone who knows that whatever just happened is going to follow him long after he walks off this stage. Joy glances at him once more. Not confrontational, not defensive, just thoughtful. Your film, she says, carefully choosing her tone. It deals with a lot of these themes, doesn't it? Responsibility, reflection, consequences. Matt nods. It does. She pauses. Do you think conversations like this help people understand it better? There's no edge in her voice now, just curiosity. Matt considers the question. I think they can, he says. If people are willing to actually listen to the whole thing. A subtle callback. Joy notices. A faint smile crosses her face. That's always the challenge, she admits. The audience exhales, almost collectively. The tension hasn't disappeared, but it's softened into something more reflective. The conversation wraps shortly after. Applause comes, but it's not the usual loud, carefree kind. It's uneven, thoughtful. Some people clap slowly, others more enthusiastically, but no one is untouched by what they just witnessed. As the cameras cut, the real aftermath begins. Backstage, the atmosphere is just as charged. Producers whisper urgently, replaying key moments on monitors. Assistants scroll through their phones, eyes widening as notifications flood in faster than they can read. Clips are already spreading. Short, sharp fragments of the exchange. Accountability isn't a performance. We need to stop expecting everything to be easy to consume. Then they're not listening. Each line, pulled from its context, begins taking on a life of its own. Within minutes, the internet is on fire. Social media splits into sides. Some praise Matt Damon, calling his responses honest, grounded, necessary. They highlight his calm under pressure, his refusal to reduce complex issues into simple sound bites. Others rally behind Joy Behar, applauding her persistence, her willingness to push harder, to demand clearer accountability in a space where it's often avoided. And then there are those caught in the middle, watching the full conversation, struggling to choose a side, because it didn't feel like a clear win for anyone. It felt real. Clips from The View begin trending across platforms. Reaction videos flood in. Headlines start forming, some fair, some wildly exaggerated. Matt Damon snaps on live TV. Joy Behar grills Hollywood star in explosive clash. Awkward silence shocks studio audience. But none of them quite capture what actually happened. Because what happened wasn't just a clash. It was a moment of exposure, of tension between perception and reality, between public expectation and private effort, between what we demand and what we understand. Later that evening, Matt is spotted leaving the studio. No dramatic exit, no statement to the press, just a quiet walk to his car. But even in that silence, the weight of the moment lingers. Inside the vehicle, as the door closes, there's a brief pause, one that no camera fully captures. He leans back, staring out the window. Not angry, not defeated, just thinking. Because for all the intensity of the conversation, one thing remains clear. He meant what he said. And he knows it won't be the last time he has to say it. Meanwhile, Joy remains backstage a little longer. She's surrounded by staff, co-hosts, producers. But for a moment, she steps slightly away from the noise. Someone asks her if she's okay. She nods. Yeah, she says. I am. But there's a pause before she adds. That was something. Because she knows it too. That wasn't just another interview. It was a moment people are going to talk about, argue over, replay again and again. And maybe that's the point. Hours later, the clip racks up millions of views. Comment sections explode. Debates spark across platforms, spilling into podcasts, news panels, late-night monologues. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone picks a side. But beneath all the noise, something quieter lingers. A question, not about who was right, but about what was said, and whether anyone is truly ready to sit with it. Because moments like this don't end when the cameras stop rolling. They echo. They challenge. They force people to confront ideas they might otherwise scroll past. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real impact begins. So now it's your turn. What did you think of this intense clash between Matt Damon and Joy Behar? Was Matt right about the complexity of change? Or was Joy right to demand more visible accountability? Drop your opinion in the comments. I want to hear your take. And if you felt the tension, the emotion, the raw reality of this moment, don't forget to subscribe to Talk Battles, hit like, and share this video with someone who needs to see it. Because these aren't just conversations. They're battles. And you don't want to miss the next one.